preparing to live stream. Give me 1 second. Go live, hurry up. Okay. Meantime, there we go. Perfect. And hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and record to the cloud. Perfect. Now I'm gonna go ahead and let Amira, Leanne, and name Amira, Leanne, who's the third person? Elise.
Is she here?
I think turn up her mic is
Turn up her
Elise,
mic.
right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and let everybody in. Everybody ready?
Yeah.
All right, go Jordan.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Leanne and Elise. And then I'm gonna go ahead and let everybody else in.
Okay, awesome. Hello. Oh my gosh. Everybody's coming in. Hi, Leanne. Hi, Amira. Did I see Elise? Yes, I see. Turn up her mic. Elise in the building. Hey, guys. It's so great to see everybody today. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to host this panel today. We have a fun and very interesting topic to talk about. But first, as people are coming in, I just want to play like an icebreaker game with y'all, if that's okay. So my question for y'all is, I'll call on people. What is your favorite decade of music? And give me one of your favorite artists or songs from that decade. So I'll call on Queen Mars. That's a cool name. You can go first. Oh, did you hear me? Oh, sorry. I'll call on someone else. Emma Murray.
Hi, nice to meet you, Jordan. Happy
Nice to meet
Saturday,
you.
everyone.
Yeah,
At the virtual beach over here.
beautiful.
For me, one of my favorite artists is Carole King, so I'll have to give the 70s a big shout out.
Nice.
Excited to be here today.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Awesome. So, turn up her mic. Elise is one of our panelists. What is your favorite decade of music?
Oh my gosh. That's really hard to answer because there's so many artists that I like.
Right.
But I think I specifically love the 80s because of Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson is my favorite artist of all time. I'm with you there. Let's see. Danny, what is your favorite decade?
Hello. Okay, well, I would say my favorite decade is the 2000s just because I grew up like during it, but I can't really pick a specific artist. It's just
Okay.
all of it together. I love the
Yeah.
2000s.
There's so many great artists from that decade too. I know that. Leanne, what about you?
Well, I have to like just piggyback off Danny. There's so many great artists, especially, with being stringed. So like I'm thinking classical music too. But if I have to pick, I'm gonna have to say the 90s because shout out to my girl Aaliyah because they finally released her music, guys. Yes. But I love Aaliyah. She was definitely a trendsetter. She was, before everybody loves, no problem with Beyonce. But before Beyonce, Aaliyah was singing, dancing, acting, giving full-on shows. Like she was literally just so amazing. So she's one of my favorite artists. So I have to go with the 90s. And the 90s has just given us so much music that we now sample and copy that so many people copy today in the later 2000s. Like I just love the 90s. That's my favorite era.
Yes, I also love like the styling clothing from the 90s. I often wear that style like every day. So yeah. One more person. Oh, Leanne is one of our panelists as well. So I'll call on Amira. She's also a panelist. What's your favorite decade of music?
I'm gonna so I actually was just talking to my sister about this. I'm definitely torn between the 70s and 80s, but I love the 70s so much. Earth, Wind and Fire was my whole childhood. And I think the favorite song from them would probably be the live cut of I've Had Enough. That was the first song I ever like cried to and was so inspired by.
Yeah. Like when you said live version, I often think about how live versions can be sometimes like so much better than recorded versions. I always think of Erykah Badu and her
Oh.
yes, her live version. What's her song called? Tyrone. Like I
Oh,
love the live version.
Call It Tyrone. Oh my gosh. Call It Tyrone Sweet live. So now I'm gonna
Yes,
listen to that right after this.
me too. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So all of our panelists are here. We have a great audience today as well. I want to encourage everyone to turn on their videos, their cameras. It's a great way to get yourself known in the music industry. Putting a face to a name is amazing. And also during this event, it would be great to take notes as well. You'll learn some cool tips, advice, just tidbits from each of our panelists. They're amazing and you don't want to forget it. So I would take notes as well. All right, let me see who we have in the audience. If I call on you, can you introduce yourself, where you're from, what you do? I see, is it Kechi?
Catchy, yeah.
Kechi? Cool, hey. So where are you from? What do you do?
I'm from Chicago. I'm currently in New York right now. And I do music. I sing, I rap, I songwrite, compose.
Awesome. We have a lot of those here. I wonder why. Let's see who else. I see Now Playing Dice. If you want to introduce yourself, that'd be awesome.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
Hey, I'm from North Carolina, but I stay in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm a music artist. I'm a rapper, songwriter, entrepreneur, all that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, our event today is about artists and entrepreneurs, so you're in the right place.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah. I see Naomi. Oh, and your last name is really cool, but I don't want to butcher it. Is it Naomi? You want?
Yeah, it's Naomi Igbenovia. I'm gonna
Wow.
try and stick to the chat as much as possible because
Okay.
I'm actually working a shift right now at my dorm.
Oh, sorry.
So it's all right. I don't want them to think I'm not responding. But
Okay, yeah.
hi, my name is Naomi. I am a college sophomore at MTSU at Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and I want to be a singer, songwriter, producer, but maybe an actress.
Awesome. Love to hear it. All right. Let's call on a couple more people. Kingston, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Kingston. I am a singer-songwriter, and I'm from Los Angeles. And I just had a few shows, my first set of real solo first shows that weren't a showcase or open mics. And I had a really great time. And my last show was last week, I think it was, yeah, at the Mint. And that was really exciting. And I felt very relaxed. Well, more relaxed. Obviously, it's nerve-wracking, but it was a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to doing more of that and writing more and working on some stuff. And I hope I answered the questions. And
Oh, yeah.
I love these Saturday Zooms.
Me too.
Nice meeting you and others. And you can find me at Kingston Music with the GK instead of the C, as my name says. And anyway, and hi, everybody.
Thanks so much, Kingston. And
coffee's a must.
Oh yeah, I'll drink some tea though. And one last person. Wow. Your last name is Miller. Is it Canalicia? Sorry.
It's okay. Canacia.
Canacia.
Yeah, my name is Canacia. I am a songwriter from Florida. I'm just really interested in like tapping into my creative side. So I've loved these Saturday events. And I'm really excited to learn from everyone today.
Awesome. We're glad to have you here again. Yeah. All right. So it's about 11:10 or my time. So we can get started. So again, hello, my name is Jordan. I will be your host today. I'm a music journalist and an events coordinator here at Finesse Media. Today, our event is super cool. It's a very interesting topic, and I think everyone here will benefit tremendously from it. So what our speakers have to say and advice to give you, I'm glad everyone is here, and I hope you're all happy and healthy and ready to learn something today. like I said, it's a great thing to take notes and also turn your camera on. Networking is a major aspect of working and getting work in the music industry. So yeah, just make sure we can put a face to a name and, meet some cool people, network. We also have a contact sheet, so fill that out. It should be dropped in the chat every so often. So yeah, don't miss it. So today we'll be discussing what is an artist entrepreneur and how you can thrive in your music career and literally anything else you want to do, even outside of music. This topic is very near and dear to my heart because my passion is music. It's been since I was like 5 years old. It's one thing I cannot live without. But I also like other things. Like I'm a chemistry major in college right now. So if I kind of want to do something with that in the future, because I love science and math and chemical experiments. I love that. Alongside my music career in the future. So yeah. So we have 3 speakers today. We have Amira, L Strings, and Elise. So they are artist entrepreneurs doing things that they love in the music industry and outside of it. So we're going to hear from them, and I would like for them to introduce themselves. And I'll start with Amira. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Amira Doherty, but my stage name is Amira Unplugged. I'm a singer, songwriter, I'm a rapper, spoken word artist, and I also am really passionate about social justice and promoting social justice and change, particularly for people of color and disabled people. So I'm really excited to be here today to both speak on music and the impact that it can have and the doorways that it can open and pathways to change that it can lead to, but also to talk about an organization that my sister and I started at the beginning of the pandemic called We Collective, which does strive to build bridges between people of color and to help kind of bridge the gap between the arts and activism into that artivism space. Prior to the pandemic, it was funny, I was heading into, I was going to go to law school. I'm so passionate about law. I'm so passionate about social justice. And I was working on campaigns for different political figures in the state of Georgia, things like that. And just really thinking that was the way I was going to impact people's lives and help people. But at the height of the pandemic, I just started posting small singing videos and started just writing more and trying to bring people out of this dark time. And that opened up doors that I never expected, just out of trying to do something to help uplift someone in the day. I was invited to American Idol. I did like all of these different things that were so random. There are collabs that have come out of this. So the bottom line is I'm really excited to show how all of your passions can marry into one thing, which is your creativity and your creative expression.
That is amazing. Ever since I first met you, I've been looked up to you, and I'm so excited that you are on this panel today. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Thank you. Fighting.
Yeah. All right. Elise, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Jordan. I'm really this, and all the panelists are really cool. Yeah, I'm just really thrilled about this. So hello, my name is Elise. I am a musician. I primarily work as a keyboardist, as a side musician, as they call it, playing for different artists, a session musician. I'm a songwriter, producer, and most recently, I'm also a film composer. So that's been kind of my work these days, but I'm also a nonprofit executive director for a newly found organization called Turn Up Her Mic. So it's kind of like music adjacent in the way that we want to help empower women and non-binary folks in the music industry, because when I started out, I kind of noticed that the representation was kind of low on our end. So I wanted to help empower and bring light to some of the issues that accompany especially musicians and people that work behind the scenes in the live area. So that's been kind of what I've been doing. and what I'm about. In terms of being a musician, I've worked with artists like Chloe and Halle. I'm about to go on tour next year, and it'll just be really fun. But yeah, that's mostly what I do. I've written for Sync, which is like music for film and TV. And yeah, I'm just really excited to be here and kind of touch on how to do both things at once, like the whole business aspect and also the artistry, creativity. So yeah, thank you again.
Of course, yeah, we're excited to have you here. All these panelists are amazing. And certainly, last but not least, Miss Leanne L. Strings Holmes, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Just want to say how proud, before I introduce myself, I have to say how proud I am of Jordan. I've known Jordan since high school, and we literally were doing musicals together. So to see her come into her musical bliss, I'm so excited. I always told her, I was like, I know you're going into chemistry, but the music is always going to follow. And I was just so excited to for her to be a part of this. So just want to say how proud I am. But hello, my name is Leanne L. Strings Holmes. I am a classically trained violinist who is also plays hip hop, R&B, and jazz and other different styles. Outside of my main goal as a musician has always been to show a different face when it comes to string instruments. A lot of times we have a lot of, other races in these instruments, but a lot of times, African-American kids are kind of set to the side. A lot of the school systems take their programs out first because they feel like kids aren't going to be interested. So when I first started playing, at first I was a little discouraged. But, as I went on, I realized there was different styles I could do. And so that led me into starting L Strings and to going on to perform, as well as I own a music academy, L Strings Music Academy, where I'm actually able to teach these students. And so it's just been really exciting being L Strings. And I'm just really excited to talk about that music and entrepreneurship side, because I've just been so passionate. I've seen so many musicians lose money. I've seen so many musicians not realize that there was more money they could have had, not realizing how to set up their actual business. And so it was one of my main goals when I started my business, to making sure I had my LLC and different things set up in the business. So I'm really excited to talk to you all today about music and entrepreneurship.
Yes, thank you so much, Leanne. Really great to have you here today. Really happy to have you here today as well. So y'all actually kind of answered my first question, how you started, when you started your business, what inspired it to start. But I'll let you guys speak a little bit more on it. You can go more in depth with it. So Amir, if you want to start.
Absolutely. First, that really resonated what she was saying about, you guys being in theater together, and how music or musicals, and how music will always, follow you. When I was a little kid, I was always in competitions. I was always singing for things and being invited to sing and perform at different places. And it was really interesting because it was music was the passion, and then the career was how I could, help people and make money. That's what I thought, right? Because, to her point as well, a lot of our music programs discourage us from pursuing the creative, because there's such a high saturation of talent in, Black and Brown communities in particular. What you find is that they think, oh, there's too many of you trying to make it in this industry, trying to express yourselves in this way. It's not going to work for you. And that really, gets ingrained in you. But now that I've been in this period of, I think it's been about a year now of pursuing music full time and, really sharing what my voice is with the world, I think that we need to shift that narrative for young people, and also shift that narrative for people who, are aspiring activists, aspiring, public servants and change agents, and help those people to see that your creativity is not, a hindrance somehow to the way that you can impact the world. It's a help. And so with this organization, We Collective, that we are, revamping right now, and with our and with the music and the art that my sister and I in particular create, we're trying to bridge that gap. So that's really in kind of a roundabout way how that started, wanting to inspire people who are on the ground trying to impact and make change, who look like us, or who, or who are within this diaspora, trying to make it in creative fields and constantly being discouraged.
Yes. Round of applause for you. Oh my gosh. That was amazing. Yeah. I always love to see like artists that I look up to, who are active in their communities and like helping the kids and then future generations, and also people who are in marginalized communities just like thrive and be creative, because they can be creative. It's not, I know like the music industry and the world is basically about like trying to make money and just like get to another place specifically, but there's also a creative aspect to it, and you can do that and be a part of these communities and be a kid and be like, you can be an activist and still be an artist, a singer, pursue your dreams with both, and help others while doing so. I love that. Yeah. Elise, I want to go in more depth.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, so kind of like Amir was saying, I was really inspired by what she was saying, and also L Strings, like helping out the community, and you don't have to wait like to do that. I think some people have this misconception of like, oh, I have to be like at a certain level in my career. Like, no, if you have something to give, you have something to give. So in that kind of same line, I guess when I was kind of progressing in the music industry, when I graduated from school, I went to USC. So after I graduated, I started doing gigs. So a little backstory, I'm sorry, I need to backtrack a little bit. So my background is completely different from what I'm doing today, in a certain way. So kind of like L Strings, I'm classically trained in like the very just really traditional, just like you're gonna do competitions, you're gonna try and win all of them, and just really doing all of that and pursuing that in college as well. And in my senior year of college, I was like, oh, I kind of want to try popular music, just out of the blue. It was kind of random. And so I joined the popular music program, and it was really, really great. And I discovered my passion for popular music, and all the umbrella genres that are under it, like R&B and hip hop, everything else that's kind of within that. And I started taking lessons with Patrice Rushen, and through her and through the program, I just felt really empowered and just really excited to start in the industry. So when I graduated, I was a little bit like, oh, okay, like just figuring it out. And I sort of started realizing that I was the only woman in the room a lot of the times. And I was like, oh, well, this is quite interesting. And it kind of came with its own, I don't want to say problems, but some sort of like bias, and not all the time, but oftentimes when I was the only woman in the room, I would feel a certain way because people would treat me a certain way. So after talking with my peers, my other female colleagues, I started to notice this was kind of a trend for everybody, that they kind of felt less than in certain situations. So that was kind of the inspiration to start, was that, okay, so we need to kind of boost these numbers up, because we're all kind of getting a little bit antsy, like, oh, well, why aren't there more bands backing artists that have more women or non-binary people? Like, why is this still a thing? So that's why I started it, because it's there's just really not as many women as people think there are, I think, sometimes. So I started it in hopes that more women would be inspired to, you know, start that journey and be performing with artists and be on tours. Because it's not just musicians, it's also tour managers. There's not many women tour managers. So we just finished up a summer mentorship program where we connected a lot of pre-professionals with these mentors, and in hopes to kind of increase the number of women working in the live area of the music industry. So that's kind of the way we started. And I just hope that, like, in the end, like, I know we're kind of a small portion of this change, but I hope that in the end that will help increase the number of women and non-binary people in the music industry.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Yeah, even though we're a small portion of the music industry, anything and everything that we do, I think, has an impact, no matter how big or small the impact is, especially for us already in the industry, and then for people who are interested in coming into the industry. Yeah, and I am all about giving spaces to women and other marginalized groups in the industry, because they need it. We need it. Yeah. And Leanne, you want to go more in depth?
Yes. So background, I originally actually was a singer and a dancer in the church. But when we moved, because my family's originally from the Midwest, and then my mother was like, okay, shout out to L String's mom. She's actually watching. But we decided to move to Atlanta, and that was one of the best decisions she could have ever made, because outside of just, you know, for her job, which is accounting, for me, it was amazing because of music. And that's when I got home, I realized, I told her, I was like, even though I was about 6, 7, and I told her, I was like, yeah, I don't really like, you know, singing and dancing so much, but I still want to be in music. And unlike others who kind of come into the church, I spent a lot of time with the organist, and he taught me how to actually read music. So I still love music, and I just didn't know my place. But it was when I moved to Georgia that I actually discovered the violin. This is actually a very funny story. I walked into school one day and I saw somebody, and I was just like, what is that box? It's making music. And she was like, it's a violin. And I was just like, that's so cool. I ran home and I said, Mom, go buy me a violin today. I'm going to play. There's an orchestra. She was just like, do you know how much those things cost? But it was, as soon as I started playing, we didn't realize, like, she was like, do it for a year. I'm going to rent the instrument. And I didn't realize a year had passed, and I progressed so fast within the first couple of years of playing. I wound up doing advanced orchestras, and that's when I was like, okay, private lessons. And like Elise was saying, you know, got into that classical field of competitions. But after a while, when I started to get into high school, I realized, okay, I love violin. I love doing this, but I honestly really don't like the competition factor. Like when college auditions started, I was not liking doing auditions. I had so many issues with like Allstate. And I was like, okay, I want to do something else. I met my mentor, Ashanti Floyd, the mad violinist. He is the rock star of the violin. And he was like, you need to learn how to play by ear, because there's so much other things you can do. And I said, play by ear? What is that? Like, I'm just used to just reading the music, playing my stuff, and going on. Started to learn how to play by ear. And one of my first performances was, I don't know if anybody remembers them, but TK and Cash, and they had this song called 3 Times in a Row. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and learn it. I was like 16. So I was like, let me learn it. Learned how to play it, posted it on Instagram, and their manager actually saw it. And they were like, he was like, oh my gosh, please come. Please come and perform for us. We're on tour. So I literally went, and that also goes in with Elise was saying, being the only woman in the room. So when I go there and I'm performing for them, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're doing this thing. And I realized that as I'm playing, that was the funnest feeling I've ever had, of just being able to freely play and freestyle. And I was just like, okay, hip hop, R&B, this is what I want to do. And that's when L Strings was created. And ever since then, not only have I been able to perform for them, I've been able to perform for Wale, Currency. I just finished a video for Def Jam for this new artist, Camino. I've also been able to play for 2 Chainz, as well as 50 Cent. And as well as I played for the Atlanta Hawks, Dream, Harlem Globetrotters. And so I didn't realize how fast everything was going to take off, but it was just being in that space. And the biggest thing for me was also showing that strings can do so much. We only see strings in the aspect of some stuffy person in a suit playing or in a long formal dress. And it's been, and my objective is always to be like, I say, I bring a new music experience. I'm showing you that you can play anything on this instrument and look any sort of way, and it still sounds just as great. And you can be in these spaces where rappers and singers are in. And that's just been like the most exciting part of being L Strange. But it was because of that passion and that first instance I had of strings, and also my mentor that encouraged me to be like, okay, I'm going to do this, do hip hop and R&B. And then now I'm here today. And as far as my music academy is concerned, in that space, being in Georgia, specifically DeKalb County, that's one of the largest counties in Georgia. And if you split in half, you have a lot of schools that are on the northern end, such as Dunwoody High School, North Atlanta. I was like, you have Dunwoody High School, North Atlanta, Chamblee. But on the south end, you have MLK, Southwest DeKalb. And my mom was amazing. She was able to get me, I lived in the Stone Mountain area, and she was able to actually get me to go to Dunwoody. So I was doing that trek of an hour to school for 4 years. But in that time, I was still volunteering at Southwest DeKalb, and I was volunteering at MLK. And I realized that these students were not getting the same amount that we were getting at Dunwoody. They were putting so much money in the northern end when it came to not just academics, but school. But then when I go to MLK and Southwest DeKalb, I'm seeing, well, they put a lot of money in band, they put a lot of money in football, but where's the strings program? Why is there money in the strings program? Why do they have broken instruments? And so that's what encouraged me to say, you know what, I'm going to have music lessons, affordable music lessons. So that way people who look like us are able to get in this realm, so they can get the scholarships to go to college or find something different. Because singing, I always tell my parents, singing is great, football is great, but there's so many people in that realm that look like us. But something about strings, it's not a lot of people who look like us in that realm, especially Black women. Like, it's mostly, if there is Black people, there's men. And so I'm like, I want to give that opportunity to younger people to say that you can do this just like me. And just because your circumstances don't allow, that doesn't mean that you can't accomplish your goals.
Yeah. Congratulations to you. Y'all are all doing so much, so many different aspects within the music industry and out of it. Yeah. And I saw Amira like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I definitely smell a collab coming on between like
Literally
and natives.
just have to. So I'm from DeKalb County. I'm from Stone Mountain, Georgia. Like, this is my home. And like, you were naming all the counties, and I'm like, first off, no one knows what Stone Mountain is. I'm so excited.
Right. Everybody thinks like, Atlanta's just Atlanta. And I'm like, no,
Atlanta. It's just a big rock, and it's just Atlanta. But for me, anything Marta touches is Atlanta. And the second thing is, I love strings. I just wanted to say that my debut song is a rap that is orchestral, right? And so hearing you speak about, marrying the two worlds, the classical and, the realm of hip hop and R&B and things like that is so, exciting to see, because there's so many cross sections that we're innovating in. So that's really cool.
Yeah. All right, so my next question is, so being a musician is also a business. How do you go about investing in both of your businesses, your music career and your other, like your nonprofits and your community endeavors? Like, how do you fund them? Do you have any grants specifically for music industry folks? Yeah, Elise, you want to start?
Sure. So we just started last year, like during the pandemic. And so I was literally just trying to figure everything out. Like, what do I have to do to, like, make sure that we can fund this nonprofit? So finally, we got the nonprofit status right as the mentorship program was starting. And that was a pilot program. And so I was like, okay, let's just see how this one goes, and then see what we can do afterwards. And so I've been doing a lot of research, and for the most part, it's been self-funded. So I've been using whatever I could to make sure that, we could be up and running. But I'm really excited to be getting sponsors really soon, and just getting grants and all that. As far as I know, part of the question was like, what are the specific grants that you can get for music? And I'm not exactly too sure on like the music specific ones, but yeah, I think, you could just search like really on the internet, just like what grants can I get.
Google is free.
Right. Google is free. And I think there's also, if I'm not mistaken, grants in like certain areas of where you're located as well. Because I know there's like a specific cultural one you can get in Colorado, where I'm from. So just doing research in that realm. But also, I found that a lot of times, especially forward-looking music companies are willing to help. So not being afraid to reach out if you have a really good idea going. You'd be really surprised. Some companies, they're a little bit more reserved, but some of them are more forward thinking, and you shouldn't be afraid to kind of reach out to them, even though it's a little daunting. It's like, it's this big company, but yeah, I would just say that's my advice, is like, don't be afraid to go after that.
Yeah. And as if you're an artist, especially an up and coming artist, newer one, it's okay to have a 9-to-5 job as well to support your artistic endeavors and your entrepreneurial endeavors, anything you want to do. 9-to-5s are accepted. Leanne.
If there's one thing I've learned, well, for me personally, I've been blessed, with the classically trained and stuff, I've been able to, support myself in that way. And if there's one thing I've learned of being in this industry, is charge your price. And I'm saying this to everybody who's new and coming in, or at the end of the day, yes, you may be an up and coming artist, but don't let it take away from your experience. And that's one of the biggest lessons I've had to learn. Yes, I may have been new, or, I may not have been heard, but at the end of the day, my 13 plus years of experience is the reason why I sound and can perform on the level I can. And so I always that's one of the main advice that I have to tell you guys, because again, if it wasn't for the fact that I wasn't charging my price, a lot of things like my music academy and being able to, support and donate to other organizations and support my own personal endeavors in terms of philanthropy, wouldn't be able to happen. So I always say charge your price, especially if you have a skill that's special. If you've been classically singing for years and you have to do weddings and birthday parties to support yourself to become a full-time just artist, and you could be out here, then do that. And then outside of that, it's really important to set up your business as an LLC, because that gives you so many opportunities to get a lot of these business grants. And you don't realize that the government actually, when you're working for yourself, has so many other grants and opportunities for you, even as a music artist. I'm only blessed to know these things is because my mother is an accountant of 21 years. So she was like, if you're going to do this, we're going to set it up, because I don't want you falling through. And I didn't realize how important it was until now, when I'm doing shows and I'm going to, I'm doing things for like Star. When I did Star, the finale of Star that was on Fox. And I wound up having to actually arrange music for the actual last scene. Now, granted, they wound up not using it, but it was the fact that I had to arrange it, and I was able to put that under L Strings Entertainment LLC. If I hadn't, of course, that extra money and stuff would have failed by the wayside. So again, setting up your business as an LLC, very, very important. Setting up yourself as an LLC is very, very important. Also, business credit. I didn't realize how much business credit is going to help you. you, instead of using, yes, it's great to, work and stuff, but if you have business credits set up, you can buy that studio equipment, that studio time, anytime you have to drive, airline miles, that those points and your business credit building up will help you. And then you're not spending all of your money out of pocket at once. That has been one of the biggest things I've learned in terms of business as well. And granted, I didn't think I could do it because I'm just a performer. But looking into that, business credit, very, very important for you as an artist, because you, again, instead of, you working that 9 to 5 or whatever you have to do, that will give you some time with the money that you actually already have. So LLC and business credit are the biggest things I have to take away in terms of being a business and music.
I hope everyone is taking notes. That was some good stuff right there. Yeah. So Amira, my question for you is, how do you balance promoting your different aspects of yourself? So like your music career and your business, how do you embrace or build confidence to support or to pursue your other endeavors and being an artist?
That's a really good question. I think that, the first thing I'd say is I am certain that everyone in here is multifaceted, multi-talented, right? But we are in a society that often has taught us that you have to label yourself very quickly, pigeonhole yourself, and then pursue that one dream and that one opportunity. And if that doesn't work out, then it's all a bust, I think that if you can be authentically multifaceted through all of your platforms, through the way that you present yourself, then what you're going to do is start to build a community that is invested in all of the different aspects of who you are, which is something I'm still doing, right? As I've been doing this for a year, and I'm continuing to introduce bits and pieces of, what makes me me, and what makes, the unplugged community, like I've been calling it, like people in who follow me sometimes call it, what makes this a unique space to be in, right? I think that another thing that's really important that seems obvious but isn't taken advantage of, unfortunately, is that we have these tools now, like TikTok, that I'll single out, for example, that are allowing people to reach across the globe in ways that we never have been able to before without a label or without representation and support. Right. And so what you have to do, and what I've had to learn to do, is not be afraid of your own talent and not be afraid, of sharing more of your personality, your story, or who you are. So what I'd say is take advantage of free things like lives, take advantage of free things like collaborations, direct messaging anyone that you can who is within your field, really taking down those notes, those screenshots, those any bit of contact information you can from across this vast platform we have, because what you're going to find is the more connecting you have, the more people that you're bringing in, the more people are going to lift you up, right? Because if you don't have a community, actually, who was it? Spotify actually just released a fan study that was extremely helpful to me. And I'll share a couple of things from that. The first thing was that people are discovering music at the highest rate in the past 5 years, particularly in Latin America and North Africa, and where else? It was one other region. Like the Desi region of the Middle East in particular. And what you're finding is that these genres and these sounds are becoming more and more blurred, and people are meshing more and more, and people are interested in these collaborations that include different parts of culture, different genres of music, different styles, different decades, and things like that. And so what that tells me is that the height of musical success is community building and collaboration. And that's what encourages me, sustains me, and hopefully will sustain more indie artists as well.
Yes, I love that. You don't have to do it by yourself. Community is very important. Yeah. I also follow her on TikTok. She's amazing. Oh yeah.
Well, thank you.
I'm sorry, I just really have to add on to Amira because she is spot on. Networking is so important because you never know exactly who you're going to meet. I can remember the first time I actually performed for a basketball game. I sent an email to the Atlanta Dream and I just sent random emails. I literally just copied the whole list and I was like, hi, my name is Elle Strings. I would love to play the national anthem. And from there, it led to me playing from the Hawks and other things. So don't be yes. Wow. I 100% agree. Please don't be afraid to reach out. I'm not saying bombard people, but you never know who might see that email, that text message, that DM. You never know who might get that phone call because that's the turning point between you staying as just, at 100 followers, nobody really hearing your music, and then getting to that billion streams and you becoming a big artist. That could be that turning point for you in the industry.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Everyone, I reiterate again, take notes. This is some awesome stuff. Okay. Elise, how do you balance working for another artist like Chloe and Halle and pursuing your own music career? Yeah. How do you make your career prosperous while giving your all and working with them?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. I'm finding that, at least for me, life and music come in seasons. So like one season I'm just like doing a whole bunch of projects for artists and it's like going. And, I really want to like still keep Turn Up Her Mic afloat and running and doing, good things out there. So I think my advice would be like, if you have people that you can trust, friends, or even some people that you can reach out to, is like, hey, I'm running this organization or business or whatever you're doing. Would you be willing to help out or volunteer, especially like in the nonprofit realm? A lot of people are down to volunteer and make things happen. So if you're in like the thick of things, like you're rehearsing 12 hours a day with said artist, having that be a thing where you can trust other people to take on social media or, email lists or whatever it is that you need to keep everything afloat. That is also an option. I mean, even like your family, it's really just, it depends on who you trust.
Yeah.
So that's what I would like to say is that like, music is such a wave, it's not always going to be go all the time. So whenever you have the downtime or any downtime at all, it's like, okay, so what can we do next? What can we do better about, your specific organization or business? And so whenever I have more time to focus on, new ideas, then that's really the time. It's like, all right, no time wasted. Let's do this. And so, I mean, of course, like take a break for yourself. Like don't burn yourself out or else you won't be able to give anymore. But yeah, I would just say ride with the tide of like the music industry because it's not always going to be at like the top, just like, working all the time. And so I would just say take advantage of those downtimes because there's going to be a week or a few weeks or even a month where it's like, all right, I'm not, doing a whole bunch of gigs. So let's focus on like improving certain things about your business or even about your own self, like as a musician and running yourself as a business as well. So I think that's kind of what I've been doing lately is just kind of riding that tide and seeing where I can improve when I have more time to myself.
Yes. Thank you so much for your answer. All right. We have about 3 minutes left. So I have one last question for y'all, and then we'll go into our Q&A session. So it's just, what advice would you give an aspiring musician who wants to use their platform to venture into other projects or business endeavors? So Amir, if you want to start with that.
Absolutely. I think that something that was a common theme in what all three of us were saying is filling the void that you see, right? Filling the gaps that are in the world. So for me, that's people of color, that's disabled people like myself. For those who don't know in this chat, I'm deaf in my left ear, like, and that's been really important in my own musical journey. It's been helping other, you know, women, all of these different groups, and everyone in here is trying to fill a void. So what I would say is keep it simple, right? Don't limit yourself, but keep it simple. Look at what you think is missing in the world, and then pursue every opportunity to fill that gap. And that's really all, like, that's all you have to do to just start out. You know, I have a tendency to think of, okay, and then it could branch into this and be a million different organizations and projects, because we're dreamers, we're creative people, and we're constantly looking for ways to innovate. And sometimes those, you know, innovative ideas can get too big and can discourage us, right? If you keep it simple from the beginning and come from an earnest place of trying to make an impact and then building upon that, you're going to find that you're going to have a lot more longevity, success, and not burn out so quickly in those ideas and in those entrepreneurial pursuits.
Awesome. And really quickly, L Strings and then Elise.
Number one, definitely networking. I can't say that enough. You never know. Like, even today, with the fellow people that are in the list, make sure you find them. With us, the panelists, making sure you follow them. With Finesse Media, making sure you follow, subscribe, watch them. Because again, you never know what someone else can help you and bring you up to that next level. You never know. It could be that one collaboration, that one performance, that one time they played your music on their live that could be it for you. So that would be my number one, my main point of advice for anybody, because networking is just so important. Networking is just so important. I honestly owe a lot of my success to networking, because if I hadn't have just opened my mouth and said something, or just been like, hey, like, I want to do something with you, I wouldn't have had the ability to do it.
Yeah. Elise.
Yeah, those are really sage wisdom. So like, everybody take notes. I'm also just like, we remember that too for myself. But yeah, I think I would say whenever you're representing yourself, so whenever you're even on social media or out there performing, I would just say give 150% and be your true authentic self. I think those two things, because honestly, like, along the lines of what L Strings was saying, you really never know who's watching. And I've learned that so many times, like at this one specific performance, like I didn't even know that this person was there or that. Like, for instance, this was all the way back in 2019 before the pandemic. And we were doing a show with Chloe and Halle, and this is like, fast forward now, like someone was at that show, and that person was the tour manager for Sia. And so they're like, oh, wait, you played at that performance? Oh, okay, yeah. And then they like onboarded me just because of that fact, because they loved the show and they loved everything. I was like, oh, okay. So I don't have to like audition or anything. They're like, oh, yeah. So you really never know like who's watching. So being like 100% yourself and always giving 150% is really important, because it's really a crazy world. The music industry is a much smaller world than we kind of give it credit for. Like, it is big, but it's also like, you never know who's watching. So that's my piece of it.
Exactly. Thank you so much. So now we're going to open up to everyone else if you want to have a question to ask our panelists. But first, we can start with Casey. Felix, I saw you had a question in the chat. You can ask it out loud to our panelists. Oh, you can use the raise hand.
Hi, guys. Oh.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Casey. I think there's a little delay. But my question is, what advice would you have for artists who are trying to appreciate themselves and that are oversaturated? So like R&B, pop music, or even, I feel like it doesn't even have to be an artist. Like, I'm a social media manager, and I feel like everyone is the social media manager. So how do you what advice would you have for differentiating yourself?
I'd actually like to take that question on because first, I completely understand, people talking about things being oversaturated or, fields having too many people trying the same thing. What I would say is collaboration goes beyond just finding someone who is similar enough to you to where you think it would make sense to collaborate with them. I'll give like kind of an example. One of my biggest videos ever, which was completely unexpected, was when I took a sample. I took river dance, right? The Irish step dancing, and I created a rap song with that. And then the actual people from Riverdance reached out and they followed me, and all of these different people who were Irish step dancers were just saying how appreciated they felt. And then all of these other people were like, I would have never thought of this combination. That's just an example, of how you can, bridge together different worlds and continue to do that to make yourself someone who stands out. That's the first thing I would say. The second thing is, with social media management, it's so funny. That's one of the things that I do to kind of sustain myself. What people are looking for, typically what I found is not just, someone who is going to make pretty content or someone who's going to put something out there and, that's just going to fall flat. They want someone who's going to, light a spark in someone who will want to invest in them, or someone who, will really connect with their story. And what we're finding more is, especially with influencers and singers who are also influencers to sustain themselves, when people are looking for new fans, they're not looking for a high influx necessarily. They're looking for like deep connections of people who will end up like staying with them longer and not just falling off after the trendy thing that they did comes to pass. So what I would say is, when you're building your portfolio to propose to these different people you want to manage, put in examples that really sparked interest in niche communities and really sparked interest in people who otherwise would have just been doing the same trend the same way over and over again. I do hope that's helpful.
Yes, thank you so much. Oh, Leanne, you want to add something?
Yes, because there was another point that Amira brought up before this question, which was, she said, finding your niche. And I think that's also the biggest part of trying to differentiate yourself. When you look at artists, for example, it's not, you got to look at the whole package. Like, for example, we have a lot of people who are rappers and are female rappers who, may twerk, whatever. But when I look at Megan Thee Stallion, she's not just a rapper who is, twerking on stage, but she's a college student. I can definitely, I'm in my last year at Hampton, or my last semester at Hampton University, praise God. But when I look at her, I'm like, okay, she's literally doing this and she's in school on top of the fact that she's doing that. That's what makes her different. When I look at Chloe and Halle, for example, I thought it was funny because I actually, when they were first starting, like before they got big, when they were first starting, I'm so blessed that I had the opportunity to perform. And actually me and Chloe went to school together. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm obviously in the right industry doing music, because if she's gonna make it, I know I can make it. She's great. But when I look at Chloe and Halle, what people don't realize about Chloe and Halle is they have been classically trained. When I tell you they can, as the old folks say, sang with an A, they can sing. When people saw that 1+1 video recently, I was like, I'm not surprised, because if I showed the video in the archives I've had of our performances before, they were singing like that, like grown women when we were 10 and 11. So I'm like, that's not a surprise. But when I look at them, there's a lot of people who are singers. But the difference between Chloe and Halle is they're classically trained, and you can hear it. And not only can they sing, but they can produce, and they can actually write the music and play instruments. That's different, because we have a lot of people who are singers, but again, they're classically trained and they know how to play instruments. So that's their niche. That's another void that's filling in the world of everybody using synthesizers and just the computers. They're like, we're still using live instruments. So it's those two aspects with those two artists that you can point out that, okay, that's their niche. So that's why I want to follow them. So that's another. So I definitely wanted to make sure that point was across, that Amir brought up, was finding that niche. That would definitely set you apart as an artist.
Yeah. And I think we have time for one more question. I see Shine has a question. Go ahead, Shine.
Hi, all of you. First of all, thank you so much for all the knowledge you've shared on this. I've learned so much. And Something that specifically, that Amira, you were talking about was how, and I think Kit Kat in the chat was commenting on the power of community building, and that right now, in an oversaturated industry, real, tangible, deep, meaningful relationships and community are more important than ever. So I'm just interested to hear from all of you of who some artists are that y'all think are doing a really fantastic job about creating meaningful communities. And then also, if y'all want to elaborate on the entrepreneurship side, maybe more mission-driven entrepreneurship, because today we have a lot of artists that, you look at people like Travis Scott, they're saying yes to every, like every entrepreneurial thing, Fortnite, Reese's, all that. But, do any of you have examples of folks you think are doing a really good job about mission-driven entrepreneurship?
I really like that question. And what I would say is, when I'm looking at artists who I'm inspired by, they're honestly indie artists. When I bring up TikTok because it started, with all of these people doing these dances and things like that. And that's very popular, but there's a lot of real excellent, artistry that's happening on there. I'll give a couple examples. I have a friend named J Maya on there who just started about a year and a half ago on the app. And she's, I think, around 200 something thousand followers. And she's doing Greek mythology pop and nerd pop, right? And it's so fun because, she's just one example of how people are able to build these niche communities that end up getting 250,000 people in just that amount of time, right? Another example, I have a friend named Melissa, and you guys might be familiar with her. She's the one who created those Google Translate videos where you sing it, you put the lyrics through Google Translate several times and then sing the messed up words in English. And now she's doing a lot of Irish inspired pop and hip hop sort of music, and has reached 1 million people in a few years, right? All of these people have not alienated their audiences for what would seem like the bigger sponsorships and things, which are things that, you need to sustain yourselves. But what they've done instead, and what I'm trying to do in my own music, in marrying a lot of different genres under the same kind of umbrella, is building a base of people who feel like you're their friend or someone they can connect to and relate to, and remembering who these people are and where you came from, and not getting, the big head and getting all swelled up now that you're more commercial and mainstream, right? So that's what I would say, connecting with your niche, remembering, who the people are who care about you, and serving that audience. And you'll always have someone to reach in that way.
I love that. I love that. Anything quickly y'all want to say?
I would definitely have to agree with Amira on that one. One of my favorite artists is actually Tiana Taylor. And the reason why it's Tiana Taylor is, even though unfortunately, she says she's retiring from music. But the reason why is because I think when we think about these concepts of, how do we connect? And I think we kind of go overboard. And I don't think we realize that it's really just being yourself. And I use her as an example because she has her daughter, Junie. And Junie is all over the place, but she's posting her and all, and we see that. But what I love about Tiana Taylor is we're not getting some prettied up version where we don't know her, but she's literally showing us, we've been seeing in her home and how she acts. And she's one of my favorite artists, again, because it doesn't seem like she's not trying to make it seem like who she is, but she's showing us exactly this is me in all of my glory. And I feel like, again, when you show yourself and who you are as a person, people can connect to that. If you know you're, naturally, something I've actually been starting to do is showing the little things I like to make up at home. I made a little chicken. I did a video of making chicken, and I made a video of me making shampoo. But again, that was me connecting with my community, because it's yes, I do music, but I still like to do things at home. And that, again, that has influenced, surprisingly, that influenced people to follow me. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, she does music. Oh, she's L Strings. That's so cool. So again, just being yourself, on top of, and I know it may seem a lot to manage, but when you just think about it, you're like, you know what, today, today I'm doing this. Let me just record myself doing this. I don't know. Maybe I'll show, maybe somebody will follow me. And you may never know that, that one little video of you just showing you being yourself and what you like to do in your free time could be you connecting to thousands and millions of other people who like to see that. And then they can see, oh, well, we see that connection in your music and how down to earth you are in your music. So we can, because we're seeing you as a person.
Yes. So Sean, I hope that answered your question. They all gave some amazing advice and tidbits. So now we're going to move into our listening session, the portion of our event, and I'll hand it over to our CEO, Alexi.
Hello, everybody. Oh my goodness, Amira, Elise, Leanne, this is so amazing listening in to all of you. I have a very similar background to all of you. I've been classically trained as well and am now an entrepreneur. And Jordan, amazing job on hosting. I'm going to keep you up here just because you have such a beautiful face.
Thank you.
And I am going to go ahead and start the listening session. So this is one of my favorite parts about our events on a week-to-week basis. For those of you who have been here, we do this on a weekly basis to, one, provide feedback to artists and or artists, producers, whoever submits their music and is relevant for the week. And then two, because it's a great chance for you to gain additional fans. And three, because fans get a chance to listen to new music and potentially add them to your playlist, add them as friends, whatever you want to do. So we are going to jump right in, and we have five or six folks who submitted their music this week. Let me just go ahead and share my screen. I think Devin didn't make it, but I have Lottie on deck as well. Lottie, send your music on time, please.
Sorry.
Let me go ahead and just share my screen, everybody. 1 second. So first up, we have Elsie. Is Elsie here? Yes? No?
Here.
Okay. Kit Kat, could you pin Elsie for me?
Yeah, I'm a little, yesterday we had like a video recording day. So today I'm kind of just a mess, but so happy to have this opportunity, and also just like shout out to the panelists. You guys are super inspiring. So thank you for being here.
Awesome. And then Amira, Elise, and Leanne, feel free to provide as much feedback as you'd like. This is an opportunity for them to get constructive criticism. So if you say it's great, awesome. If you feel like there are things that they need to work on, then definitely feel free to speak up about that as well. So this is Wanderer by Miss Elsie.
Drifting through wonder sea.
feedback from our lovely speakers?
I really like that. That was really, I was listening to your voice, the piano, the cello. I'm like, this is, and I'm looking at the comments too. They were literally saying exactly what I was thinking. I could see this in a movie. I could see this in a show. I can definitely see this going back to what was talking about earlier in terms of using your platform. I could see this as one of those, as something we see for one of the TikTok. Like this is a really great song. I love this.
I would, piggyback on that and just say I really, appreciated the musicality. I appreciated all of the strings, what sounded like some nice harmonies underneath. If I would give some advice, right? What I would say is you have such a beautiful tone and you obviously have, more range, right? And this feels like a meditative piece, so I completely understand keeping it in a peaceful space. I would maybe advise adding a few more prominent harmonies on some of the like lead up to the chorus. So like there was like the before the wonder, it was like the second phrase of the song, I expected to hear something go up and it stayed at the same level, right? And I can just hear that you can go up a little more, you can come down a little more. And so I'd love to hear a little more of the nuances of your voice, but I really think that this song is on a great path.
Awesome. Any feedback, Elise?
Yes, that blew my mind. I freaking love that song. I want to add it to my own playlist. But yeah, that was really great. I mean, just conceptually, like the beautiful cello, like was so. Thank you for using it. I think that was a real cellist, right? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was really freaking.
That was a real cellist.
Ah,
gorgeous.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you. I'm so tired of all these fake strings.
Tell him, Elise.
Say it again, Elise. I'm so. Oh, that is like a pet peeve that has been driving me crazy the past couple of years. I'm like, there are so many musicians. The real instruments. And set it off. Yes, real cellist.
Yes. I mean, I think the only thing is like I was kind of listening for like because it's so musical, like real musicians on it. I would maybe just add some like really spacious, like, I mean, this is just a personal taste thing, but like background vocals that are kind of like melodic in a way and just really reverbed out, but not like all the time, but in certain places you could add like a fill, like a vocal fill,
right?
Or something like. But I mean, otherwise, I could see it, in a really like introspective TV show or movie. So go off.
If I could just say, like, just on that point of where you can see it, y'all know that show Love is Blind, which unfortunately a lot of us ended up addicted to during the pandemic. I felt that there was a song called Dynasty by Mia, and it was very like, it had that kind of introspective sort of vibe. And that's exactly what I was picturing when I was listening to it.
Awesome. Thank
Love
you,
it.
Elsie, for
Thank you.
sharing. All right. Elsie is also a Finessed Media artist, and she has a big performance going on next week where she will be performing this song. All right. Next up, do we have DJ Flossie here? Where is DJ Flossie? Jessica? I'm not sure. Yes, let me find you. I'm going to pin you really quickly. Kit Kat, are you able to pin people on your end? Just out of curiosity. Yes. You are? Could you pin her for me?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right. So this is DJ Flossie. I have so many tabs open. Give me just 1 second. I need to have 2 screens in order to do this from now on. One moment, everybody. All right. So this is going not playing on my end. 1 second. This is Don't Forget to Breathe. And here we go. All right. Start over the beginning. Keep yourself from blowing your. What did you expect? You broke
up with me. You broke up with me. You broke up with me. Your face is noisy, trying to hide from yourself, but we can see it all. All these bad decisions you can't erase, so I hope they're fucking fulfilling. And I know I shouldn't let you be all consuming, but I know I gotta let you go. And it's your eyes on me. Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to breathe. When you miss me, don't forget to breathe. We live in history. Don't forget. Don't forget. Lips pressed tightly.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop it there. All right, any feedback from our speakers?
I guess I'll go first. Yeah. Yeah, that was really awesome. I really like well, first of all, I really appreciate female producers. Let me just put that out there. But yeah, I think the only thing for me was just like I wish there was a little bit more of like a build before the drop, because the drop felt really good, but more of a build for some reason. But otherwise, I thought it was like really vibey and really cool.
I definitely want to add to Elise on that. Oh, I'm sorry. But I definitely wanted to add, I definitely love the background in terms of it, but I really want to hear the build in the vocals, because you really want to make sure that there's so much going on in the background that you want to make sure that your voice is really being heard and following. One of the biggest things that they, being classically trained, they always tell you follow the line. But in this instance, it's definitely noted. You want to make sure that, especially with the longer notes, you want to follow that line and push, especially when you have that big drop. You want to make sure that your voice specifically is following that background until that's really where that drop and where that push is coming from before the drop happens. And anytime you have these long notes, making sure that we don't just fall off with them, but more so, again, having some sort of, like I said, build, like was being said, build up with it and your vocals, because you have again, the background is great, but we want the vocals also to be, the main focal point, other than just, someone be like, oh, okay, the background's cool. So you want to make sure that your voice is following that line too.
Right. I think first off, the vibe, super dope. I would put that on my cry playlist. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think that what I would say is there were a couple of lines that were kind of out of the pocket, right? Like, and so it took me out of the vibe for a second, because like, again, what I love, both these songs, you guys have such great tone, and like there's obvious like build and really nice notes. I just like, if you could maybe just clean up the placement a little bit, I think that would be great. And then also you hit this note that was like, don't forget. And like, I would love to hear, like you did at some other parts, the echo and the reverb under it to emphasize it, because I don't want to lose notes like that. I don't want to lose moments like that and just let them go. I want to hear it and feel it for a while, because you obviously pushed it out and put it in there for a reason. So like, if you could emphasize those really dramatic parts more, I think that would be impactful.
Jessica, are you singing in the back, or are you the vocalist on this as well?
No, I did the production and arrangement and everything, and my friend Farley did the vocals and the top lining. So
nice.
Oh,
go ahead, Amira.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, like, first off, it's really cool because the thing we all noticed was the beat and how cool like the background and the production was, and the production value. So that's super cool. So that my little note on that's all I would say then.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. And Jessica, I would just add, for a song like this, I was looking for a little bit more oomph to it for the vocals and the production, because you have so much like L strings. Leanne, I'm reading your name on here. So as Leanne was saying about the vocals, like you can bring all of that forward a little bit more, right? Because this is an EDM song that will be played hopefully in festivals. This will be played at concerts. So I was looking for more oomph for the part where it's like, don't forget to breathe. And then that's where I was like, boom, 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 boom. Like that's what I was looking for in the background, right? So just add a little bit more to or I wouldn't say add more to the production at all, just change up the levels a little bit. So maybe bring the vocals and everything forward.
Yeah, it's the first one I produced fully by myself, so I appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, it was awesome. Great job.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So thank you, Jessica. And then next up, Kingston, we have you playing live. Kingston, are you ready?
Hi. I woke up and my voice is just trash today, so
that's okay.
Thank you. Next time.
No worries. All right. Kingston performs live for us every week, and it makes us so happy. The next up, we're going to play a song from Lottie. So let me go ahead and just.
Oh, God. Just so everyone knows, I didn't sing this. I'm a songwriter, vocal producer, and I mix, but I don't sing. So, yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Lottie. Let me just go ahead and share my screen really quickly. Oops. Hold on. Go. 1 second. Ready. This is bigger. No.
I used to think that you would just caress, but now I'm running out of excuses for why you talk that way to me, and why you take it quietly. Did your daddy give you any hugs? Just seems like your past has left you so damaged. Don't you see the man that you've become? This ain't the way to get me. Telling me I'm fat don't help me get any thinner. Late night booty calls don't make me feel like a winner. Everything you do makes me wanna pull the trigger. You know, being a dick won't make yours get any bigger. True is everything that you say, it's every story you make is true. But calling my girlfriend ugly and saying that shit to her face is just rude. You try to hide your insecurities, but what you say makes them so plain to see. Did your daddy give you any hugs? Just seems like your past has left you so damaged. Don't you see the man that you've become? This ain't the way to get me. Telling me I'm fat don't help me get any thinner. Late night booty calls don't make me feel like a winner. Everything you do makes me wanna pull the trigger. You know, being a dick won't make yours get any bigger.
Ooh, Lottie, always coming in hot.
Thanks.
Any feedback from our speakers?
That was really saucy. I loved it. I really, really loved it. I especially love the chorus. The chorus was really just bouncy and just really like you could do 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 do.
Yeah, you're singing it. It makes me happy.
The hook was really, really great. I think just in terms of just production wise, like in the verses, there's this like pad or some kind of thing. I wish it had a little more like dynamic to it or some kind of undulation, just because it was a little bit like stagnant and kind of
Okay. Yeah, it's a pad. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise it's a bop. So
thank you.
it kept cutting out for me. I'm so sad because the pieces I did hear were so catchy and like bouncy. I heard the last bit too. It's funny. My dad's listening downstairs, my mom's listening downstairs, and they were just like, "That's a hit." And then
Listen,
so I'm gonna
Aaron,
listen back to the recording.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen back to the recording,
I'll
but
send you the
I
link
just
to
know
the-
you have positive feedback from some people as well who were listening.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, I really love the back, specifically with the production. I really love the switch up in between, you know, starting off and then when you get to the chorus area. And I really love the fact, again, with the vocals, I wish I could sing, but I really love how the vocals was again following the line, and it gave us like, okay, yes, I'm gonna stay into it. Like I had to like just close my eyes and listen, because I definitely wish this was out right now, because I was looking in the comments and someone asked, was like, I wish it was out. Like I don't know. Yeah. I was like, I don't know who. I'm like, I know you're pitching it, but I don't know who the singer. Like I need to hear this like on Apple Music, Spotify, like today, because I love the production and I really love the vocals.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny because the girl who did this demo is an artist and a producer, but this is not her kind of music, so she wouldn't put this out.
Lottie, did you mix that?
No, I didn't mix this one. She did. Ava, who sang the song, yeah, because she has.
Can you tell me the lyrics to the hook really quickly? Telling me I'm fat.
Yeah, telling me I'm fat doesn't make me any thinner. I can't remember it right now because
it's like telling me I'm fat don't
doesn't make me any thinner. Fast forward. It's God.
It's okay if you don't remember it.
But the very last line is like, being a dick doesn't make yours any bigger, which is what the. It's basically like he does all these things to like put her down, and she's like, "You doing this is not helping." That's like the premise of the song. So
I love that. That was awesome. Thank you, Lottie, for sharing.
Thank you.
Cool. And then last but not least, we are going to close out the listening session with a song by Nehemiah, who is somewhat new to our community. And we're going to be playing Blessings from him. So let me just go ahead and pin him really quickly. Nehemiah, are you still here?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, let me pin you really quickly. And here we go. This is Blessings. Some of you might be familiar with it, but this song was just released, Nehemiah? Yeah.
You're on mute.
Just released it yesterday.
Gotcha. Nice. Woo woo. Cool. All right, here is Blessings.
Let the blessings fall down forever and ever. Oh, let the blessings fall down forever and ever.
Oh, I hear the prophecy, always down to build it like Monopoly. Want to hear my son say dad is proud of me. Overthink it, I just see it from the balcony. Friends, why don't you come over like you're Valerie? Working on my salary, balancing all this back and forth for life's agenda. I could tell you that it's challenging, rooting for you like you do your favorite college team. When you do the good work, the blessings gonna be following. Oh. And I know you're going through a hard time. Everything's gonna be alright. I know it's time to get through life, but it'll get better. There's joy, praise, what you feel deep inside. Don't cut ways, cause an angel supposed to fly. Can't back down when you reach for the sky. Don't stress now, blessings fall in line. Blessings fall down forever and ever. Oh, let the blessings fall down forever and ever. Oh, let the blessings fall down forever and ever. Oh, let the blessings fall down forever and ever. Oh, let the blessings fall. I hear it calling, blessings falling down like it's autumn. Anyone can reach it at the bottom. Maybe alone, but not forgotten. Even in times like this, I'm here, my darling. Everybody's watching, go and be unique. Life's too good, got everything you need. You're too strong, even when you're weak. I see you dancing on your own 2 feet. Where do I begin? Comfortable in your skin. Come too far to not enjoy the win. Family's all here, party never ends. Tomorrow gonna do the whole thing again. Blessings falling in like
I don't want to stop it. I want want to go dancing to this song. Maybe not in the club, but you know. Amira, Elise, Leanne, any feedback on this?
Absolutely. I really love the positive vibe, the immediate, smile on my face, even when I'm trying to like be neutral and listen. I really liked this song, and I appreciated how easy the hook was to grasp onto, but how immediately it resonated with within a lot of people, I think. Like someone said in the comments, great tone and flow and vibe. I know this song came out, so and I think it should have already. I definitely will add it. I think if you're gonna do like a remix or like another release, like a lot of artists are doing now, what I would say is maybe try some more hype vocal, some more hype flow, because this song feels so happy and so like just like a lot of energy in a bottle, in a song. So if you're gonna like put out another release, I think that would be the only thing I would say.
Yes, I have to piggyback off of Amira, but she stole the words right out of my mouth. I love listening to this. Again, positive vibes, haven't heard that in a while, but I think a lot of times, what I realized with working with rappers specifically is even they feel like they can't use any sort of like inflection or anything in their voice just because they're not a singer. And I would say like that's completely the opposite. Something with a song like this, I would definitely want to hear a little bit more especially with certain words and phrases. I definitely want to hear a little bit more with that, because it's giving a hype, like a little hype, blessed vibe. I think somebody said, I saw it, they said Chance the Rapper. That was a good example, because again, there was another person, if you've ever watched, I forgot the rap, I think it was the Rap Game. No, not the Rap Game. The rap show that was on Netflix. There was another artist, Old Man Saxon. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. But the reason why I love Old Man Saxon, again, it was his rhythm and flow. Thank you. Yes. So Old Man Saxon, same thing. He had that inflection in his voice and had the different like quirky, but it was the inflection that again that got you to listen to, actually listen to him. So I would definitely add a little bit more hypeness. I did like that the vocals came in for where we ended. The vocals came in as a support under that. I heard that. And I'm not sure about the rest. I really want to like listen to the rest of it. I'm definitely about to add it, but I would definitely want the background to have just a little, I was listening for a harmony just at one point, maybe even if it was later in the song, if you re-release it, I would definitely listen to like a little harmony in the background vocals, because that phrase that they're repeating, let the blessings fall down, there could definitely be a little bit more variety in terms of later in the hook. Yeah, I was hoping it was added because I could definitely hear a harmony going in between there. But yes, that was a really good piece. I'm definitely about to add it right now.
Cool. Elise?
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with L Strings and Amira. I think it's such a great vibe, and like it makes me want to go out and like have a good time, which is like, I think that might have been the goal with the song. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Kind of like what Amira and L Strings were saying, like if there was a remix, which I think would be really cool if you had like another collaborator, like either a singer or rapper, like just focusing on the transitions, like maybe a little bit more of a build up, or like sometimes especially some hip hop songs, like it'll cut out like the music for like the last beat before the chorus, and it kind of gives like a nice little release. So sometimes using that little silence before like the chorus, I don't know if it's making any sense, but like sometimes the music like cuts out before. But I think that might be like a good addition in case you did like a remix or anything like that. But overall, like really great job, I think. I would love to add it to my playlist too.
See what happens when you all come to the listening sessions. Okay, I completely forgot about Queen Mars. Queen Mars, I'm so sorry. I still have you on my list. And thank you, Jordan, for the reminder, because I wouldn't have forgotten about you, but Jordan very kindly reminded me. Amira, Elise, Leanne, I know we are a little bit over time, so if any of you do have to hop off exactly right now, that's totally fine. Do you have time for one more song?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, awesome. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. This is going to be a song by Queen Mars. One moment. This is SEX. Started from the beginning. Oops.
When did we get so drunk on our emotions? Is it love or fear that brings us to this closeness? There's nothing here except the feelings that we bury. We never share the bodies that we carry. Every time I kiss him, there's venom in my system. It's when he looks at me and asks me why it tastes so sweet, and I say, I'm sugar and spice, I'm everything nice, but at that triple X, I'll be whatever you want. He's grabbing my thighs, he's getting baptized, he's spelling SEX out with the tip of his tongue. We watch the silhouettes behind the candlelit dancing on the wall. You light a cigarette when you start to confess, it's like performance art. But every time I kiss him, there's venom in my system. It's when he looks at me and asks me why it tastes so sweet, and I say, I'm sugar and spice, I'm everything nice, but at that triple X, I'll be whatever you want. He's grabbing my thighs, he's getting baptized, he's spelling SEX out with the tip of his tongue.
All right, I'm gonna pause it there.
Nah, this is hard.
Any feedback? Who said that?
Me. That song needs to be out.
Yes, loud. Thank you. Cool. Amira, Elise, or Leanne, any feedback?
Yeah, I definitely really digged it. Like, it was such a good vibe. Like, it definitely felt really sensual. Yeah, like I really especially love the chorus, sugar and spice and everything nice. That was really nice. I think the only thing would just be like the vocal production for me, like since it is such a like vibey song, kind of having I don't know if you mixed it yourself, but having it a little, just having more vocal space, you know, maybe adding some nice reverb, because it is pretty like dead center. It'd be kind of nice to kind of hear it more spatially. Of course, like, you know, over Zoom, I'm not exactly sure what it exactly sounds like, but yeah, I think it'd be nice to have like more space in your vocal production. But overall, I really digged it. I think it was really a really great vibe.
Amira, Leanne?
I really don't have anything else to add. That was exactly what I was going to say in regards to adding more reverb, everything else, great production.
Yeah, I think we all basically had the same thought. I think we all had a collective conscious on that one. I think we all say that I really love this. I really love this song. Again, I need it out today.
Thank you.
Queen Mars, is there a hook later on in the song? Just out of curiosity.
So the hook is the drop, the sugar and spice part.
Gotcha. Nice. Yeah, I really like this. Jordan, Kit Kat, and I were listening to it earlier, and we were like, "Ooh, this is nice." Cool. Thank you so much. All right, so that concludes our listening session. So thank you to our lovely speakers. Oh my goodness, Leanne, Elise, and Amira. You all dropped not only creative advice, but really great entrepreneurial advice as well. Because even myself as an entrepreneur, when I first started, I did not know how to start my LLC, did not know how to build up business credit, didn't understand how to even run multiple businesses at all. So I'm sure that people found it helpful. Hopefully everybody found it helpful. Actually, if you all found it helpful, unmute yourselves and give us a little round of applause for our lovely speakers. This is the closest that we're all going to get to being in the room together.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. That concludes our More Than Music panel with Leanne, Elise, and Amira. Any of you have any last minute pieces of advice that you'd like to leave or anything that you'd like to share before we hop off?
I just have something really quick. I always try to leave with just this piece of advice that my dad gave me when I was really little. And it was when I was about to start a competition. And he would always say, you know, everyone wants to see you win, right? Even your competitors want to see you win. You know, no one wants to sit there and watch someone actually fall. And so remember that when you're posting, when you're starting your entrepreneurial pursuits, everything like that. People want to see you thrive. You just have to believe in yourself. And thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you, Leanne or Elise.
I just want to say thank you again for having me today. I guess one last piece of advice that I actually really wanted to mention earlier is always, again, just take a moment to enjoy your process. It may be a lot to just, you know, you're trying to get those follows in that song, but, you know, a lot of times we kind of forget to just relish in the moment of where we're at now. And, you know, when you look at where you were, you know, last year or even a couple months or weeks ago versus now, again, just relish in the moment that you have now, that you're in now, and just still enjoy that moment. Because I don't want anyone, yes, we talked a lot about business, but don't get lost in just the business. And also, please also feel free to, I know not just for myself, but, you know, all the panelists as well, to make sure you follow us, you know, so we could connect with you outside of this. I know we gave a lot of advice, but I'm pretty sure, especially from what I've seen from the other two panelists' pages, we still will give same advice and, you know, have also a lot to offer and probably are more willing to connect as well outside of this too.
Elise, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, most definitely. I kind of wanted to piggyback off of Leanne. Yeah, I think in the past I was afraid to reach out to people because it's like, oh, they're so busy, like they're gonna hate me for like disrupting their flow, whatever. But honestly, like you'd be surprised at how many people want to help and want to, you know, reach out and collaborate or even just like give wisdom. So I think and especially Leanne touched a lot about this during the panel, but you just really never know who would be willing to talk with you. So yeah, just network and just enjoy the ride there. I think that's such a great piece of advice.
Awesome. Thank you all again so much. And Jordan, thank you for hosting. So for those of you who don't know, Jordan, this was her first event that she's hosted with Finesse Media. She did such an amazing job. Woo-hoo!
Thank you so much.
And Jordan, when she was first hired, was so nervous. And look at her now. Look at you now, Jordan. Woo!
We're getting better.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you to our lovely panelists and the folks who shared their music with us. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. We will see you next week for our music and gaming partnerships event, which is going to be hosted by our very own Danny Vong. And then the week after that, we'll have an LGBTQ plus panel with Boyfriend, with Bryce Xavier. Who else is part of it? Neen Bowen and Lynn Casper, and that'll be hosted by Tammy Henderson. So we are going to have really exciting events coming your way. We love you all. Have a wonderful weekend, and thank you again.